James felt like he was living in a fog. Every morning, the scale screamed a number he didn't recognize, and his reflection seemed like a stranger's. At 42, he was 20 pounds heavier than he'd ever been, and the extra weight wasn't just physical. It was a heavy cloak of fatigue and frustration that he wore every single day. He'd tried everything: the fad diets that promised miracles, the intense workout plans that left him sore and defeated, and the expensive supplements that only lightened his wallet. Nothing stuck. The weight always crept back, bringing friends. He felt trapped in a cycle of hope and disappointment, wondering if he'd ever feel like himself again. One evening, scrolling aimlessly, he stumbled upon a video. It was a calm, reassuring voice, talking not about miracle cures, but about sustainable, natural weight loss. The speaker was a man named Dr. BrightAge, and he was discussing something that sounded almost too simple. The core of Dr. BrightAge's philosophy was a single, powerful habit: aligning your eating window with your body's natural clock. He called it circadian rhythm fasting, but explained it in simple terms. It wasn't about starving yourself. It was about timing. He suggested starting with a 12-hour eating window. For example, if you finish dinner at 7 p.m., you don't eat again until 7 a.m. It seemed manageable, almost ridiculously simple, compared to the complex diets James had tried before. Dr. BrightAge explained that this simple practice gives your digestive system a much-needed break, allowing your body to focus on repair, cellular cleanup, and burning stored fat for energy. It helps regulate key hormones like insulin and ghrelin, which control blood sugar and hunger. James decided to give it a try. What did he have to lose? He set his first goal: no food after 8 p.m. and no breakfast before 8 a.m. The first few days were a challenge. Old habits died hard. The evening cravings for chips and cookies were intense. James found himself wandering into the kitchen out of sheer habit, opening the fridge and then remembering his new rule. To combat the urges, he started a new evening ritual. Instead of snacking in front of the TV, he'd make a cup of herbal tea or go for a short walk around the block. The morning was tough, too. He was used to grabbing a pastry with his coffee on his way to work. Now he had to wait. But after about a week, something shifted. The intense evening cravings began to fade. He noticed he was sleeping more deeply and waking up feeling less groggy. It was a small change, but it felt significant. He wasn't even focused on the scale. He was just focused on this one simple habit. After 2 weeks of sticking to his 12-hour eating window, James felt a noticeable difference in his energy levels. He'd lost 3 pounds. It wasn't a dramatic drop, but it was real, and he hadn't felt deprived or miserable. Encouraged, he decided to take it a step further. James decided to try for a 14-hour fast, eating only between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. But he found that a black coffee in the morning was enough to carry him through until his first meal. People were baffled by the simplicity of it. They were expecting to hear about a grueling gym routine or a restrictive diet. The truth felt too easy, but the results were undeniable. The weight loss was fantastic, but the non-scale victories were even better. He felt like he had finally found a sustainable lifestyle, not a temporary fix. Inspired by his progress, James decided to incorporate another one of Dr. BrightAge's simple tips, a short, brisk walk after his last meal of the day. The doctor explained that this helps stabilize blood sugar and aids digestion before the body's nightly fasting and repair cycle begins. So, every evening after dinner, James would take a 15-minute walk around his neighborhood. It became a peaceful end to his day, a time to clear his head and disconnect from screens. This small addition seemed to accelerate his results. The weight continued to melt away steadily. He wasn't obsessing over the scale, but every week or so, he'd check in and see the number dropping. It felt effortless, natural, and completely sustainable. He wasn't on a diet. He was simply living in a way that felt right. 3 months after watching that first video, James stepped on the scale and saw a number he hadn't seen in years. He was down a total of 20 pounds. He had done it. He had lost the weight without crazy diets, without killing himself at the gym, and without feeling miserable. He did it by adopting one simple habit and then adding another. He had realigned his life with his body's natural rhythm. That evening he found another video from Dr. BrightAge. The doctor was smiling, talking about how the most profound changes often come from the simplest shifts in our daily routines. James felt a deep sense of gratitude. The journey wasn't just about losing weight. It was about reclaiming his health, his energy, and his confidence. He had finally found the secret, and it was simpler than he ever could have imagined. And he knew, with certainty, that this time the weight wasn't coming back. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on natural health and wellness.